Alright, this is going to be a speedrun of Valley. We start with a pre-made save file, because every time you create a new save file, you have to redo all of your settings like key bindings and mouse sensitivity. So what we do instead is we create a save file that has all the settings that we want, copy and paste it into all of the save slots, and then every run we do is going to have the exact same settings, which is really useful, and it's the whole reason why we do this. So to begin the run, I'm going to hit continue, and I'm going to select the first area. And because the save file was made at the very beginning of the game where we've made no progress at all, that means it's going to just start us right at the very beginning of the game. It's going to play the opening cutscene, which we're going to skip, and then time will begin once I actually do my first input after gaining control of the character. So here's the opening, and I'll do a little bit of a countdown for time to start. So we can start in 3, 2, 1, go. So, this opening section of the game is about a minute and a half of walking, so I'm going to try to explain a few things about the run while I can, and because it's really difficult to explain them later on. So the main type of movement and the main speed tech in this game is known as crab. And the reason it's called that is because the person who found it thought it reminded them of how a crab scuttles sideways, and that'll make sense once I can actually start doing that. But for now, I can only walk forward. Another thing about the game is that it has speed limits. So at the beginning of the game, our speed limit is 30, and about halfway through, we're going to get an upgrade that increases that to 50. And you might think it's counterintuitive for a speedrun to have speed limits, but it's really useful for a lot of the setups that we use, because we know that if we reach the speed limit and we jump from the same place every time, then we're going to land in the same place every time, which makes a lot of our setups a bit more consistent than they otherwise could be if we ran the risk of overshooting things. So a bit about the story of this game. We're some researcher, and we came up to the Canadian Rockies looking for something called the Life Seed. And once we got here, I see our canoe or our raft crashed, and suddenly we find this military equipment. Like this here is the Leaf Suit, which stands for Leap Effortlessly Through Air Functionality. And I had to listen for a bit of an audio cue there to skip a cutscene. Once we have this is what enables everything in the run. So I'm doing a couple of little slope jumps there, get more height than I'm supposed to be able to in order to jump over these rocks. And here comes the first crab, where I turn my camera 90 degrees to either one direction or the other, and then strafe and pan my camera back towards the direction that I want to go, and for some reason this builds up a lot of speed, which in this case was not quite enough speed, so I have to do a little backup stride here. Our guy here starts listening to these audio tapes that were with the suit, finds out that these scientists, or these military scientists, who were here back in, I think it was the 50s, actually found the Life Seed here. So coming up right here is one of the hardest strats in the run. A pretty heavy reset point. I have to get just the right kind of jump off of a rock back there so I can get enough height to make it out of bounds here. There's any one of a million things that can go wrong to make this skip not work. But it's one of those tricks, you pretty much have to go for it. And if you're doing a run and you don't get it, it's pretty much an immediate reset. Yeah, I got a weird version of it where too much height actually helped me, because I got through in a very weird spot. Okay, now we're flying to the end of the level. It's just down here. And we're done with the first level. Anyway, like I was saying about the story of the game, we have this suit. It has the ability to give or drain life. And that's really important to the story. I'll cover that in a little bit, because first I have to talk about the second level. So the way I ended the first level flying out of bounds actually allows me to keep some of that speed into the beginning of this level. And of course I lost it by running into that rock there, but that's alright, because I still got there pretty quickly. Anyway, just like in the first level, I'm going to be using some rocks and some debris to jump over a bit of a mountain here that I'm not supposed to be able to. And then with a series of jumps here, I'm going to try to get very quickly to the end of this level. This is actually a very long level to do the intended way, because you have to activate these 3 towers, and then that would open up an area that gives you an upgrade to your suit that allows you to double jump, which is how I'm supposed to cross this gap that I'm instead flying over by simply having too much speed. And then double jump would also allow us to make it into this building the intended way, but I'm not really bothering with that either. And it's also supposed to be required to make it across that last gap, but enough speed we can do it anyway. I just activate this elevator, and we're done with the second level. Just have to wait for this elevator to reach the end level trigger way up there. Okay, I can talk about the story a little bit again now. So your suit has the ability to give and drain life by shooting its thing. So that has to do with the 2 blue bars in the top left of the screen that I wish I had mentioned before the screen went black. That's the amount of energy that your suit has. Shooting costs energy, double jumping costs energy, but draining life out of something can restore energy. And there's also this effect called quantum death. So if you die in this game, it brings you back to life at the cost of draining some life from the valley itself. And that has a lot to do with the overall story of this game, where the scientists are working with the life seed to create a weapon. So like the main scientist is a rival of Dr. Oppenheimer, who in this point is working on developing an atom bomb. So these scientists are kind of working a little bit in parallel, because they're trying to develop a different type of weapon than that. And because of this life-draining ability, they're trying to develop this weapon to either, they're developing it to try to drain life from entire, enemy cities without causing any structural damage to the buildings or infrastructure. Sort of an interesting concept, but that's what they're working on. And what we found out in the second level of the game, if we actually played through the whole thing, was that they found the life seed, and they took it somewhere to experiment with it. So now what we're trying to do is go and find it. And of course, all this while I'm doing a lot of crazy jumps and huge skips and talking about the story, I land in just the right spots, going up that hill. I can skip to this point, which is very close to the end of this level. This is a very long level where you have to go all the way around this kind of mountainous area a couple of times to reach the top. And then we break through those rocks. So normally you're supposed to get really high up and then fall from a big height to be able to bust through those rocks. But the way the game works is that it doesn't really check which direction you're approaching the rocks from, it only checks how fast you're going when you hit them. So if you build up enough speed in any direction and then hit the rocks, we break through. So now that we're into this facility, we're supposed to go all the way around through all kinds of different areas in order to hit a button that opens up the exit. It goes down into the reactor area. Instead of that, I'm going to get up here. I can land on this thing. There we go. Here, I'm just going to get out this way. I'm going to run up against this area here, and I'm going to hit the end level trigger from out of bounds, just like the first level. And so now we're entering the reactor, which is where the life seed is. And we're going to pick up this upgrade here. This is the upgrade I mentioned earlier that increases our maximum speed from 30 to 50. And then I'm going to immediately go to my pause menu and travel back to the same area that I'm already in. And the reason for that is, after I pick up that upgrade, there's this little animation where the thing I was in was an elevator, and it crashes all the way to the bottom, and then we have to activate a generator to open the door, and then wait for the door to open. But by traveling, we skip all of that and are placed on the outside of that door, ready to get onto this on rails section. These rails do a couple of things. One, they both, first they increase our speed to the maximum, and the second is that they refill our energy, because they're energized rails. And you would think, well, this being an on-rails section, we can't really do much to save time, but that's where you'd be wrong. There's a huge skip in this level. which I'll be getting to just around this curve here and on the other side of this big jump. So by running into this wall here, there's just a hole in the texture beside the rails that lets us get out of bounds. And from here, I'm going to do this big jump, curve around this wall, and we need to land on these rocks that are out of bounds. I'm going to do another crab just to try and keep my speed. And to my left you can see what would be the ending of the rail section. It's leading down to the reactor area, which is way up there, and that's where the life seed is. So unfortunately, when I hit the bottom of this area, it's kind of a 50-50 chance that you lose all of your speed, and I lost all of my speed this time. So I have to try and get it back, because I need a lot of it to be able to do the strat to get to the end of the level. I'm going to ramp off of this rock here. I do it just right. Looks like I did. I'm going to play a little bit safe and kill my speed so that I don't fly over the end level trigger, which is right on that pipe. So I don't actually pick up the life seed, but again, like in the earlier levels, if I get to the exit of this level, the game assumes, well, I must have it, so now I just have it. The effect that has is it makes my attacks more powerful. That doesn't really come into play because I'm not attacking anything here. But it has some effects on the story that I'll mention shortly, because this is the hardest trick in the game. Yeah, I've already missed it once. So I have to get just the right amount of speed and height jumping out of this pipe so that I make it up onto the top of that mountain right there. And then depending on how I hit the top of that mountain, we get to figure out which of the follow-up strats I get to use. So I'll give this a couple of tries. Okay. I didn't quite get the right one, but I made it up on top, so I can do this back up where I get a little bit of speed. And do a couple of crabs. I land in the right spot here. There we go. And get up here and ramp off of this. Get up onto these hills. That was actually a pretty good backup. This is also a backup. If I had the right amount of speed, I could have done a launch from the top, but I'm just going to do this instead. Here. Now I'm headed straight for the end of the level, which is right in here. Just have to make this jump. And generator right there that I can get some extra energy from. Okay, didn't get a clean ending, but we still made it, so that's fine. So, with the story, because we took the life seed, that creates a problem. There are two facilities in this valley, and one of them was the life seed, which is generating energy, and the other is Astra facility, which is kind of a weapons facility that was trying to drain energy from the life seed in order to power itself. But because we took the life seed out, and this thing is based on the same technology as our leaf suit, instead of draining the life seed, it's now draining life out of the entire valley. And once that runs out, it's going to start draining life out of the entire planet. So we have to go and shut it down now. So a couple of really tricky jumps here. Oh, and I bumped the wall, which is not good. If I bump the wall, I lose all my speed. As long as I don't die, that's fine. I can do a backup right here. So instead of keeping all of my speed and doing a huge jump, I'm going to run down here and build some speed by using these craters where they were testing weapons. Use that to get just enough speed to make it across this gap. Hopefully not launch myself up into the air in a bad direction. Okay, this looks fine. If I jump off of this just right. Angle's a little funny, but it should work. I'll break these rocks and finish that level. Now we're coming into Smoke Lake. At the beginning of Smoke Lake, I have to do a trick. Alright, as soon as the level loads in, and really kind of before I even have any ability to see what's happening, I have to jump and crab to the right so that I land on top of this rock. And by doing that, I can skip the whole puzzle of this room that you would normally need to do to be able to open this up and activate that tree that opens this door. Oh, just kind of doing a little bit of intended speed building right there. I jump out this way. Try to avoid hitting this enemy while also being able to keep my speed going onto these stairs so that I can ramp off of them. And you can see there's Astra Facility up there, and it's draining life. Ooh, I got a weird jump that took away a lot of height. It's okay though. So I'm doing an out-of-bounds thing here. A lot of these rocks simply don't have any collision. It's pretty nice for us. And looks like I got the fast version of this, so we're just going straight into the end here. And got stuck on some invisible collision, but the end level trigger's right there. Normally you go up into that pipe after running a whole long way around this level. It's a very long level, and you get an upgrade that allows you to run on top of water, which is going to be important for this final level. We're now in the Astra Facility. So what I need to do is try and build some speed in this very narrow hallway, which is quite difficult, but almost missed it, but saved it at the end, so we're fine. Do that really well, you can fly right up into here and just fall right down this hole in one go. It's awesome when that happens, but very difficult. Just need to land here, and there's just a hole there so we can get out of bounds. Hopefully if I build up just enough speed here. Okay, we got it. Just want to land on that kind of level platform there, because that one doesn't take away our speed if we land on it. The one right before it's kind of sloped up would have. Use all that speed to get across here. I'm just going to kill those so that they don't shoot me. And do a tricky little jump to get up here. And from there, we get out of bounds again. So here I just need to build up just enough speed. Okay, that was not good at all. I'm going to redo that. It's okay, I've got plenty of time. But while I'm doing this, we can talk about the story a bit more. So normally in this area, we would get to a boss fight. And then after the boss fight, we would reach the area where the life seed is kept. Oh, I ran into that. It's really difficult to do these strats while talking. Like, it's hard to describe exactly how difficult these strats are to do, even when you're not trying to talk about things. Wow, I'm just doing terrible here. Okay, I've got time. Yeah, after we beat the boss of this area, we would find the life seed. Or no, we have the life seed. We find the area where the life seed needs to go. And we get to put it inside the Thanatos cannon. Which is kind of like the gun that we have in our suit. And what we would then do is fire it back at the Soma reactor, which is where we got the life seed. And that would create this big feedback loop and destroy the whole couple of facilities and stop them from draining life from the whole planet and, you know, end of the world as we know it and all that. But instead of doing all of that, or sorry, after we would do all of that, we'd have this big escape sequence where we jump out into a lake and then the game would end. So time's coming up very shortly because I'm underneath the lake right now. And time. And that was Valley. I think my energy might be low.
to control the world will lie within the hands of a small few. Every nation on Earth will tremble.